met, bro, we was attached.
Yo, Thug Dog, dude, what's up, buddy? I was saving this.
Hey, Stavros. Very excited to see you in Charlotte in April for the Dreamboat Tour.
Yeah, brother.
Hey, Eldest, thank you for getting all these podcasts out there, and hello to our honored guest. I'm sure you got some great insights for me today.
Tom Maniac's #1.
So, I was recently contacted by an old girlfriend from grad school, and she did it in kind of a secretive way. She's married, she's got kids.
Oh, shit.
And just kind of sent me a DM in a place where you wouldn't expect people to send DMs, and where spouses wouldn't necessarily check.
Where's that?
And
I'm assuming LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
Yo, what's up, Sean? What's up?
I'm not interested in continuing anything here.
There you go.
There's nothing for me
Pause
to get
this.
out of it.
Pretty easy.
She got fat.
Redeem Toke. Friday is coming up. Yep. Friday is indeed coming up. Rocky. What do you want? You gotta go outside? You gotta go outside? You gotta go outside? Let's go. I'm gonna go let my dog out real quick, gentlemen. I'll be right back. I apologize. Yo, what's up, Project Trap? Hope you're doing better today, buddy. I have a shit I need to do tomorrow. I probably should be sleeping. I already redeemed the toke, Shawnee Boy did, but I gotta go let the dog out, gentlemen. I'll be right back. Go on. Yo, buddy. You're not getting any fucking steak, if that's what you think. You're not getting no steak and eggs. No. You're not getting no steak and eggs, bud. Nice fucking try.
That is what he means. Like, this is fully like the years have not been kind to her.
Mm-hmm. Out of it. And I don't think there's anything for her to get out of it either. But I do kind of want to tell her.
Yeah, he's also, I'm also fat.
Sorry.
Which he probably is probably true.
Oh, for sure.
Tell her, it's like, hey, you're making a huge mistake, and honestly, I'm kind of disappointed in you for doing this too.
Wow.
And I think that's maybe a little too hurtful, but that is how I feel.
Yeah, she's definitely looking
probably
rough.
have some residual issues.
Because he's realizing, like, no, this woman is, like, desperately trying to regain a little bit of her sexuality. She's willing to risk her family to get a fucking compliment from a guy who used to fuck her. And this guy's going to be like, look within you. What you are doing, you're making a huge mistake. You're dishonoring the vows you made. It's like, damn, how fucking ugly does a lady have to be for a guy to, like, not only be like, hey, I'm flattered, but I'm married. If he's like, think about this. I beg you.
Honey, look deep within your flabby chest. And know that this is a mistake and you're disrespecting both of us.
Oh,
that's
man.
tough.
Yeah.
Nobody scolds a beautiful woman.
No, this girl. Look, we don't know if this lady's ugly, if whatever. She's definitely not incredibly hot.
Or a 7.
Yeah. There's no way.
Yeah, no.
I mean, unless this guy's like the most, pious man of all time. This guy's like a priest.
Maybe he is. He could be a good guy.
If he's listening to Stavi's World, he probably is.
Yeah, he's pretty right.
Well, if she had DM'd him on Instagram, maybe he'd be different, but she clearly DM'd him on, like, LinkedIn.
True.
And he's like, no, I'm a professional in this setting. So I'm going to reply, like, don't throw away your marriage.
I have some residual issues with her breaking up with me, obviously. But anyway, what do you think, Stavi? Should I actually let her know that this is a terrible thing, or should I let her flame out with another ex? Because, her husband's going to pick up on this eventually. Anyway, love you. Have a great day.
He's like, she's ugly and stupid.
Stop. What do I do with this dumb bitch? Buddy, just ignore the fucking message.
Yeah, I mean, what are we talking about?
It's pretty easy.
So easy.
Just don't respond.
Delete it. Just pretend you never saw it.
You don't need to be a part of it. You're clearly not interested.
Yeah, but snitch, like, trying to give her a fucking sermon.
I wish he told us exactly what she said. Because part of me thinks he might be reading too much into it, too.
That's a possibility.
It would be a nice cover story if you're real slick with it, like trying to cheat with this woman. Be like, honey, I was just opening a dialogue to tell her about the sanctity of marriage.
Right, this
I was
is
trying
like
to guide her
what
back.
he's talking about is like when guys would get caught on To Catch a Predator, and they're like, I am here to save the child. In my car, you will find the letter with
like,
plans.
Sir,
and it's
sir,
like,
why is there a dryer from Best Buy in the back of your truck? And this, a tube of crazy glue.
That was so fucking funny when I remember that there was like an episode. To Catch a Predator is back in the zeitgeist. There's like a documentary about it.
Oh
coming
shit!
out.
I can't wait to watch that shit.
And I think there's like some other. Yeah, there's definitely a documentary, and there might even be like a TV. Anyway, whatever. Like he's around again a little bit. Like
he's back on Cameo.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's a piece of shit.
Really?
Chris Hansen is a fucking piece of shit. He went to jail.
For what?
Really?
For some sort of fraud.
That's
He's
awesome.
a bad guy.
That's
He
awesome.
interviewed my dad in our house.
Real?
Is that true?
After the Sandy Hook
After they
shooting, he
tried
like, came in,
God.
and he was like a reporter, and he was like talking to my dad like in our foyer on TV.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Were you like,
insane.
It was
when he
fucking
came in, were you
nuts.
like, why don't you have a seat?
It is funny because you watch that show. That show is so fucked up.
Yeah.
And then it's
Well,
like
I think
the
that's
other
what part of
guys-
that part of this
like-
documentary is about. Is like
Entrapment.
these
kind
are
of.
legitimately mentally retarded people, like half the time.
And they don't go to jail most of the time.
Oh,
They're just
really?
that's part of the deal. Like with them being on TV, a lot of them did not go to jail. They're just like, and from now
not
on,
true.
you don't do that sort of shit, huh?
That's not true at all. A lot of them actually
They
did go
have
to
to
jail.
sign to be on the fucking show.
Oh, true.
It's insane. I looked up a lot of this back in the day, just in case to cover my own.
That shit was that's fucking crazy.
There was a lot that
Okay,
didn't go
so
to
this
jail,
woman
but there was a lot
used
that
my
did go
face.
to jail
You guys
too.
aren't gonna make me look bad, right?
I could be fully full of shit on that, but I'm
feel like
pretty sure there was a thing where it's like most of those guys did not go to jail because they didn't do it.
Right.
Here's the perfect entrapment is you gotta let them do a little bit of it.
You fucking you like dress up a guy as a fucking kid, like a grown man as a kid. It's like, all right, you gotta suck his dick a little bit.
They gotta get them pat, or else they're gonna hurt.
And they're like, oh, okay, so Chris. It turns out that's not what the cops wanted us to do.
He was so sure.
He's like, he didn't check, he didn't call a lawyer. He's like, well, I goofed, fellas.
That's on me. And I like to,
actually, now
like
the cops are saying like, now it's consensual sex amongst adults. We were posing as children. Actually, now we're in trouble because we pretended to be doing child porn.
Yeah,
but
we actually owe this guy a lot of money now. We made him non-consensually fuck an adult.
Which weirdly is considered rape. He was trying to be a pedophile.
Turns out we raped a guy through paperwork. No one's ever done that before.
What's up, Stav? Long-time listener, first-time caller. What's up, Eldest, esteemed guest? Without giving away too much, I had a job at a kind of well-known university and like a public-facing job at sporting events. And, you know, for the most part, people are really, really positive and really nice. But every once in a while, you accidentally run across some like pretty mean comments. So I guess I was just wondering, like, how do you deal with any sort of negative feedback?
All right.
And how do you kind of just, like, move on through that? Because you're obviously way more well-known than I'll ever really be. So thanks again. Love the show.
He's talking about people coming up to him in costume and not being cool.
Being like, Alabama's gay.
Stop me. How do you deal with being the asshole?
Yeah. How do I deal with?
They don't hate you. They hate the Gonzaga Bulldogs.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, you know,
you got to get that a lot though. Like like, what's up, big boy? Can I pick you up? Can I do this?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. And I think like a lot of it is. I mean, the best thing to do is to just let them sit in their comment. For me, anyway. So
that's a good move.
This is hard because these people. This is different a little bit, right? Because like these people think they're being funny. Like they think I'm gonna. They just think they say something and it's gonna be funny. They don't understand that it's rude. They don't know me.
That you've been hearing that over and over
that
since
it's not
you were a
original.
child.
Even if they had a good one, you know, if it was a good one, sometimes I'll have like not that I'm encouraging people to say anything, but like I'll talk to somebody and they say something good, and it's like, oh, we haven't even brought this up. The guy at the fucking pho restaurant, I got fucking roasted to smithereens where we were getting pho. It was wait,
pho.
were you? No,
I wasn't
George.
here for
It
this, but I
was
heard
straight
it.
George. Yeah.
Straight George.
It was straight George, the nutrition expert. It was me, George, and Eldest, and we were sitting to get pho. This guy doesn't know who I am at all, right? We're ordering, and I had just gotten over food poisoning, so I'm like, we want to get soup, something kind of light, and I order a small bowl of pho, and the guy goes, small? Doesn't know me at all. Literally catches me off guard in a way, because like I thought it's like, you know, you don't bring your gun. It's like a, you know, yeah, you're a gunslinger, but I left it with my horse. I'm at a saloon where my protection has been, you know what I mean? Like he completely caught me off guard. I'm flat-footed.
You're at the big and tall store.
Exactly. It's like, it's crazy how I had nothing. I couldn't even like get him back. I was just like shocked. But you know what? I was laughing because he did get me. You know what I mean? But yeah,
that's
guy.
That's rare though. For you guys
that's
watching,
super rare.
Every single one of you thinks you're going to be the one to do that.
But that's also why it worked, because he had no idea who I was. It was just like so. It's also like such bad customer service. Because it's like, yeah, I'm a comedian, right? I found it funny. Yeah. My friends found it funny because we bust on each other. Like, this is a story we'll tell forever.
We bust on each other? Whoa, pause.
In a weird way, because of how we're set up, enrich our lives. But we were talking, and it was like, imagine if we're like guys that work together, and I'm a fat guy who's insecure about how much he eats.
Oh, yeah.
And the waiter's like, really? You fat fucking slug? You're going to eat a small soup? That was a wild move, bro. But in terms of general negativity, like, yeah, I like to let people sit in it, like, because they'll usually say something incredibly ignorant or they'll say something whatever. You ignore a lot of it, right? Like, again,
yo, Squirt, what's up, buddy?
Mascot. I would say just do.
You're good. I don't care about the cats.
If I were you,
so long as it's you, baby.
Shoot them in the face with a t-shirt.
I'm gonna go grab a lighter. I'll be right back.
If you're a mascot or a comedian or a public figure, you've got to have.
I'm gonna go grab a latro, and then we'll start doing some temporas. All right. Got me a lighter. Here we go. I think Sunday this weekend I'm gonna have to clean my room. My room's a fucking mess. This bad boy is the thickens.
Even so, neither Michael nor any of his friends or family members could have imagined what lengths Natalie would go to cover up the grand deception. Before we begin, we would like to express our sincere condolences to the victim's family for their loss.
Banned from G. Where's OSRS? Right here, buddy.
Raleigh County, West Virginia, not far from Virginia to the east.
I was just finding a video to watch.
West. Natalie's parents described her as a smart, quiet, and good-natured child who rarely caused them any trouble. On the other hand, Michael was a diehard.
Did you even realize that it was in the fucking...
loved playing baseball, fishing, hunting, and roughhousing with his friends.
What are you saying? Gotcha.
Natalie were polar
Yes, sir.
in many respects, but
Yes, sir. I like to dabble in some video watching whilst, you know, kind of just AFK in some fish here.
In Morgantown, where he played baseball and studied information technology. Natalie went to another university, but she eventually
Trying to get a fish barrel right now, or whatever the fuck it's called.
And because it had a solid pharmacy program.
Took me 104 KC to get a Scurious spine on this account, on this Ironman account. Some bullshit, if you ask me.
He was in school. They liked visiting Michael whenever they could, but after Natalie moved in, they often got pushed to the side when her parents were there. As expected, Michael and Natalie eventually got married and had 2 kids of their own. Michael worked in IT while Natalie was a pharmacist for a local
spaghetti code. That's your OSRS name?
Well, and when they weren't working, they spent as much
No, I fucked up. I wasn't paying attention. Mine's GOAT of World for W420.
Sports team, and whenever he had free time, he worked.
Mine's GOAT of World 420.
Competitions and did whatever else he could do to look his best. He was technically a bodybuilder or an MMA fighter, but he took a fair amount of supplements and even used steroids that he had bought online from a supplier in Mexico. In 2017, Natalie quit her job as a pharmacist because she wanted to dedicate her time to starting a new company called Tactical Solutions Group, or TSG. By then, Natalie and Michael had been talking about going into business for themselves for quite some time. At least on the outside, their business model was refreshingly simple. Their plan was to land lucrative state and federal weapons and tactical gear contracts by underbidding the competition. Natalie and Michael didn't have any experience with government contracts or buying and selling weapons for the military and law enforcement agencies. Nonetheless, they were confident that their hard work and dedication would eventually pay off.
No, I'm gonna put this shit out. I'll do it.
Okay. In the early going, Natalie focused on convincing her friends and family members to invest in their promising startup. She even told them that she and Michael had gotten the idea.
Oh my god, I got that just by the fucking skin of my teeth. Holy shit.
Miles Teller. She even said that they planned on making their new employees watch the movie as part of a training and onboard video process. Of course, most of the prospective investors were skeptical that a cheesy movie could be the basis for a successful business. One woman even reminded Natalie that the main characters in that movie went to jail at the end. It took a lot of convincing, but Natalie and Michael assured everyone that they knew what they were doing and that it was only a matter of time before the contracts and money started rolling in. Michael's mother, Donna Bolt, was one of the
I was like a fucking method if I've ever seen one.
Investors. She ultimately coughed up nearly $250,000, and she wasn't the only one. Other friends and family members made hefty 6-figure investments as well. Now flush with other people's money, Natalie and Michael went on a
spell the name? I did. It's in my chat.
Spending spree of epic proportions. In a matter of months, they had bought cars, boats, motorcycles, expensive jewelry, 2 properties, and a 1965 Shelby Cobra, none of which had anything to do with their business. And to top it all off, they took their kids on high-dollar vacations to Paris and Hawaii. In Paris, Michael's daughter Nicole said she regularly bought luxury goods.
Yeah, but there's spaces between everything.
Like Louis Vuitton. And when they got back to the States, Natalie promptly applied for a $100,000 loan from a local bank. She even claimed that TSG had business assets worth more than $500 million. But unbeknownst to Natalie, she was already the subject of a financial investigation. However, it had nothing to do with TSG or the luxury goods that she and Michael had purchased with investors' money. Instead, it stemmed from tens of thousands of dollars that had recently gone missing from a Little League baseball fund for which Natalie was the treasurer. Before long, a private investigator uncovered more than $30,000 worth of fraudulent purchases that were allegedly made with the money from the Little League Fund. By then, dozens of TSG investors were also starting to wonder if they had been duped and if they would ever see their hard-earned money again. When they confronted Natalie,
see you in jail for fraud, bitch,
patient, and told them a number of payments that had been delayed due to bureaucratic red tape and government shutdowns should be coming in. At one point, she even claimed that she had cancer and that the treatment was preventing her from spending as much time on the business as she wanted to.
I have cancer.
Natalie and Michael had blown through much of the $2.5
No,
million
motherfucker, man, I'm not paying attention.
Family members and lifelong friends. As such, Natalie was also trying to secure additional capital from a team of business bankers at a Bank of America branch in Charlottesville, Virginia. On the morning of Wednesday, February the 6th, 2019, she and Michael were supposed to fly there to finalize the deal. At that point, no money had changed hands because the application wasn't quite finished just yet. But as close as they were to getting the additional money they so desperately needed, Natalie and Michael never got on the plane. Later that morning, she told her family that she and Michael both had horrible flu-like
The joint looks fire as fuck. You know what's fucking fire about it? It's all homegrown weed. All homegrown, just fucking harvested. It's amazing.
But she said she didn't want to go and that he'd probably be better in a day or two.
Yo, after this, I'll sign into my main. After this, I'll sign into my name so you can see it. I'm gonna lose my thing.
One of the visitors was a family friend and
shoot it. I might as well just get the XP for it. Fuck it.
Told Natalie that Michael was in bad shape and that she needed to take him to the hospital ASAP. Natalie eventually gave in and took Michael to a nearby emergency.
Just gonna fill up half my inventory full of ropes here.
Severe swelling of the brain and dangerously low blood glucose. This was odd because Michael wasn't diabetic, but Natalie told them that he regularly took insulin because it had.
This is my name right there.
Properties. By then, Michael's mother was beside herself.
Like right there.
Grief.
That's how you spell it.
Natalie told her
capital GOAT space of space W420
in the room. Even so, Michael's mother drove to the hospital anyway, and to her surprise, the staff immediately let her in to see her son. As soon as she entered the room, she noticed that Natalie wasn't behaving like a concerned wife. In fact, she found her lack of concern and matter-of-fact attitude maddening, inappropriate, and downright suspicious. 38-year-old Michael Cochran occasionally moved and responded to stimuli over the next few days, but he never regained consciousness and died in hospice on Monday, February the 11th of 2019. Since the doctors thought he died of natural causes, no autopsy was performed. Natalie and Michael had been
Become the World 420. I'm standing right here.
Of his death. Per his last wishes, the family only held a private graveside ceremony instead of a traditional funeral. It's unclear whether Natalie knew about it, but behind the scenes, West Virginia State Police detectives were busy investigating Michael's suspicious death. Approximately 4 months later, she found a local businessman who was interested in purchasing 49% of TSG and was buying it for $5 million. He eventually gave her a $50,000 deposit, but investigators showed up at her home with a search warrant in late June of 2019, just before the deal went through. But surprisingly, they weren't investigating Michael's death. Instead, they were following up on allegations that Natalie had
permit
TSG was not a viable business and that she was running a Ponzi scheme. During the search, investigators confiscated documents, computer files, and electronic devices, and they also found a vial of insulin in the refrigerator. Natalie was not taken or charged with any crimes, but investigators eventually determined
that the homie overdose on?
Was a scam, and that she and Michael had never even bid on a single government contract, despite taking more than $2 million from investors.
That's crazy. What the fuck?
The Cochrans was even worse because they intentionally targeted friends and family members. The big question
that's what I was going to say. They were literally
in on it, or had Natalie pulled the wool over his eyes as well? In the end, investigators concluded that he probably was not involved in the fraud. Natalie filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy protection the following day and eventually pleaded guilty to the aforementioned charges. In March of 2021, she was sentenced to 11 years in prison and ordered to return nearly $2.5 million of investors' money. In one fell swoop, Natalie had irreparably harmed her relationships with the family and friends who had invested in TSG.
Dude, what the fuck? Someone just randomly dropped 70 fucking...
spend more than a decade with the in-laws because their father had passed away and she was going to prison. But as bad as things were, they were about to get far worse.
Okay, I'm just gonna do some Zora, I think. Do I?
Concluded that he probably did not die from natural causes after all. Michael's body was exhumed approximately 7 months after his death, and shortly thereafter, forensic pathologist Dr. Piotr Kubacek performed an autopsy. But after examining the body and running a number of toxicology tests, he could not determine a cause of death. Then, 4 years later, forensic pathologist Dr. Paul Uribe performed another autopsy.
Alright, I'm gonna log off of this account and go back to my Ironman.
By then, Michael was in an advanced state of decomposition, but even so, the
no,
doctor
shit.
concluded that
that's not what I wanted to do.
Had introduced non-prescribed insulin into his body and that his death was a homicide. Natalie was already serving time for the federal money laundering charges when prosecutors charged her with first-degree murder in mid-November of 2021.
The court calls the case of State of West Virginia versus Natalie Cochran. Natalie Cochran, how do you plead to this charge of first-degree murder as alleged against you in indictment number 23-F-343K? Are you guilty?
343K.
Not guilty, Your Honor.
The way that guy said that.
Trial got underway on Wednesday, January the 15th, 2025, at the Raleigh County Circuit Court in Beckley, West Virginia.
On February the 5th of 2019, Michael Cochran was a 200-pound, healthy 38-year-old man. By midday of February 6th of 2019, he had lost consciousness and he would never regain consciousness. He died in hospice care 5 days later, February 11th of 2019.
Defense attorney Matthew Victor argued that Michael was a steroid and insulin user and that he had a well-documented history of
steroid and insulin users.
He readily admitted that
I believe steroids, but insulin?
Boats, jewelry, property, and classic cars with their investors' money, but said that she had not.
No one's willingly just sitting there injecting insulin.
Sent him into a coma and ultimately killed him. Early on, the prosecution called banker Michael Nexon to testify about working with Natalie during the loan application process.
In terms of
better get ready for a tether here pretty soon.
The Cochrans, did you spend more time involved with Natalie Cochran or Michael?
You know, it'd be pretty cool too. To tell him water. Damn.
One thing I recall is one time there was a gentleman on the phone there in the car who said it was Michael Cochran. The rest was pretty much exclusively with Mrs. Cochran.
Were there any funds in this account at this point?
So from our side, there was nothing. So essentially, it was...
Man, this joint's hidden.
We own these government contracting services. We're going to have significant funds coming and going from these accounts, which if it was real, U.S. Trust and the private bank would absolutely be the best place to go to do all this. And so at the time, there's nothing in these accounts. We are essentially getting everything set up for getting the piping in.
Good old Death Bubba.
To allow money to come into the account and then be a real source of financial help. But no, nothing, to my knowledge, at least from a U.S. Trust side, there's nothing ever in the account.
There's an email from the defendant of March 14th.
Give me some fishies, baby.
Could you take a look at that one?
I have that in front of me, correct.
And what did the defendant indicate to you was going to happen then?
So rereading this email, they are asking for wiring information for their account. They've said that $100,000 is coming in. Other government funds are coming.
I fucked this run up.
And then she's emailing
so
the
bad.
death certificate and the state paperwork so we can remove Michael. So in the interim, we've been informed that Michael was in the ICU and then passed. And so
I didn't mute you. I went on to my other account, homeboy. I got 2 accounts, right? So I'm playing on my Ironman right now. Not on my main account.
Christopher Davis testified shortly thereafter.
Tell us your relationship with Michael Cochran.
Mike was one of my best friends. And, we did a lot together and spent a lot of time together. And
I ain't soft like that. Yeah, I really have to piss me off to mute you.
Coached sports together and, vacation together. And he was he is a dear friend.
You miss him?
I do.
This guy's so dramatic. Holy shit.
He was a very strong man. He's a good man.
He must have Tourette's or something. He keeps twitching.
He would want me to be strong now as well. And he was a good man. A very good man. He wasn't the best father, the best friend, or the best husband. But I'm not either. But he's not what you heard he was. He loved his family. He took care of his family.
The whole top of the ship's on fire.
He loved his friends. He loved his community. Spent a lot of time in the community. He loved life. He wasn't sick. He wasn't ready to die. He was healthy. Even up until the day he died. He had plans. He had lots of plans. He was doing lots of things. He couldn't wait to the things he was doing. And that was also for his family.
Next, physician's assistant and family friend Stephanie Hamilton took the stand.
She had,
Do I get points for cooking?
texted me and told me that
Oh, you do?
she had pneumonia. And she was still coughing really bad. And she wanted to know if she could get some steroids. She asked me if I told her that was fine. I usually do pills. She asked for a shot. So I was going to give her that, send it in for her to the pharmacy, and I asked her if she wanted me to come by and give it to her. She said no, that she could administer it.
And what did you prescribe for her pneumonia?
Solumedrol.
Generally speaking, what is that?
That is a steroid.
And that's the medication you offered to in pill form, but she wanted an injectable.
Prednisone pill form, but she wanted an injection. She asked for Solumedrol.
Okay. And an injection, is there any way to use the item you prescribed, the specific item, without needles?
No. Michael was laying on the couch. One thing on the phone that John had asked me to do was to bring a thermometer, that Natalie didn't have one. So, when I got there, he was laying on the couch, sleeping. Michael was laying on the couch, sleeping. She had the blood pressure cuff on his arm. There was numbers on it as if it had just been taken. She had the pulse ox on his finger, which monitors like oxygen rate and pulse rate. And that all looked normal. Nothing alarmed me when I saw the numbers. The only thing I had with me was the thermometer that they had asked me to bring, which was a ear scan. I walked over to him and
Walked over to Michael?
To Michael. He was laying on the couch. And went to take his temperature. and told him, Michael, this is Stephanie, because I knew how Michael was. If he had just woke up and saw me standing there, he may punch me. So I said, Michael, it's Stephanie. Don't hit me. I'm going to take your temperature. And he turned his head towards me. I took his temperature. It was fine. And then he was laying on the couch. They had a recliner that kind of sat behind
Got my
the
fish.
couch. And I sat down in the recliner. He was...
And have a rope.
So his head was behind. I mean, I was behind his head. He was in there. And talked to Natalie and John for a few minutes to see what had happened and what was going on.
What were you told had happened?
I was told that, you know, I knew.
Unless it's a statement of the defendant, I object to hear.
Fair enough. Did the defendant tell you what happened? Did Natalie Cochran tell you what happened?
Yes.
What did she say?
She told me that they had been sick that morning, which she had said through text. She said he was throwing up and he had a seizure or something in the kitchen and fell on the floor.
Did you ever advise her not to have him checked by you?
No.
What did you specifically advise?
That he needed to be checked. She told me that he had a history of seizures and he had stopped taking his medication. And I said, he has to be checked. I said, even people with the history of seizures, anytime they have one, they need to be checked. We never know which one's damaging. And she said she was going to let him check it off. I kept offering, like, I would go with her. We would go, we could bypass Raleigh General if that's not what they were wanting to do. We could go to Charleston. She said he wasn't happy at Charleston either. I mentioned Princeton. Nothing was good enough.
Investigator Robert Heinzman also testified about financial improprieties he found while investigating Natalie and TSG.
Natalie Cochran was attempting to sell off this business at that time.
What was the gross price for the business sale?
She was attempting to sell the business for $4.9 million to a local businessman.
And a local businessman, did they do anything to further the sale?
This bitch is a fucking bona fide hustler.
A deposit, that kind
Yes.
of? Tell us about that.
This entire thing occurred over a 6-day period prior to the execution of the search warrant. Her and this individual had met and agreed on, and he agreed on buying a partnership interest of this business. And she contacted him a day after, 1 to 2 days afterwards, and said that she needed a deposit placed on his purchase interest, a $50,000 deposit. And he wired her $50,000 the day before the search warrant was executed.
49% of the business that the purchaser was buying, what kind of assets was the purchaser purchasing?
This buyer was led to believe he was buying a 49% interest in the business and assets that had been described to him that were associated with the business. He had been told that there was a fleet of vehicles, that there was an airplane that was an asset of the vehicle, and other business assets that they had at that time, the business location on Eisenhower Drive, and any other assets associated with the business.
So the $4.9 million
joint fucked me up.
never got fully executed.
I'm stoned as shit. That was the only fucking tokes I had. So
This was June
well worth
25th,
it.
2019, when I made contact and told this individual not to wire any more money to her.
And that's because why?
Because we determined at that point that the business was fraudulent, the contracts were fraudulent, there was no money, there was nothing for him to purchase.
Natalie initially indicated that she would testify on her own behalf, but as the trial drew to a close, her defense team informed the court that she no longer wished to take the stand. After closing arguments and final instructions, the judge dismissed the jury for deliberations.
There's a jury for this? This bitch guilty as fuck. You don't need no jury. The fuck?
In the case of State of West Virginia versus Natalie Page Cochran, case number 23-F-343K, the jury verdict is as follows. We, the jury on the issues, joined unanimously find the following. The defendant is guilty of murder in the first degree. Foreperson of the jury, it is dated 1/29/2025. There are no marks on the portion of the verdict form pertaining to involuntary manslaughter. Does the state wish to examine the jury verdict form? Does the defense?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
You may be seated. Is there a request for the court to poll the jury?
No, Your Honor.
All right. The verdict is received by the court and directed to be recorded. I'll ask the state to prepare an appropriate order in the premises. The court accepts the jury verdict and finds this defendant guilty of murder in the first degree.
Before the sentencing phase of the trial, the judge permitted friends and family members on both sides to deliver victim impact statements.
Evil must be held accountable. Natalie Cochran must be held accountable. Life in prison for a premeditated murder may seem fair, but what I think is just would be to take a rope over here to the courthouse, throw it over the branch of that big oak tree.
Because he was a minor, Natalie's son was only identified as MAC.
I need me some Worm Slayer task.
The question here today is, does she go to prison for the rest of her life, or is she eligible for parole in 15 years for mercy? How do you think you need your mother in your life, or even if you think you need your mother in your life from this point forward?
I want my kids to have a grandmother. I want them to know her. I want them to be able to go over
Your mom, your grandmother shouldn't have been killing people.
have Christmas and spend time with her.
Know what I'm saying? Pretty simple shit.
Would you like her to be around and possibly out of prison if you get married or anything like that?
Yes.
Everyone knew Natalie was going to prison because the jury had already found her guilty. That said, the victim impact statements were particularly relevant because they might sway the judge to give her life without parole or to make her eligible for parole after 15 years.
After 15
years?
years?
The judgment and ruling of the court that the defendant, Natalie Page Cochran, be, and she is committed to the penitentiary of this state for her natural life without the possibility of parole.
Damn, that bitch got the buck. That bitch got the buck. A lifer. You know what? Everything I'm trying not to be at this new job. A lifer. What's one month?
Home plate umpire was rather inconsistent in the Yankees-Mariners game. He calls that one a strike, so Fried tries to go back to it, but now it's not a strike, and that's the same exact pitch, and it's not a strike. And this was going both ways. That is called a strike. Breakdown is brought to you by DraftKings. I don't know, probably high, and then Fried tries to go high again, and it's not called a strike, and that one's not called a strike, but that's could be high, and that one is similar to the one that got called a strike, and that is a strike, but it doesn't get called a strike. So it wasn't really against one team more than the other. It was just very inconsistent, and there's frustrations growing. And now we come to the 9th inning, and the Yankees have tied the game. They have the go-ahead runner on second, Jason Dominguez at the plate. They got their closer on the bump. He is absolutely nasty. And like I said, the go-ahead run, Volpe, is on second base. So it's a big moment. The zone has been inconsistent. That is an easy call. Ball. And then that is a swinging strike. Umpire doesn't have to make a call there. And that pitch is unbelievable. Yes, I'll swing at it. It's good. And then, holy shit, where did it go? No way. That pitch is crazy. 1-1. He goes with the slider again. Dominguez fouls it back. 2 strikes. Now he's going to throw a low fastball off of that. Gets the call.
What the fuck? That was by the shins.
What? It's down, bro. Come on. Oh, my God. It's so down. He's what do you want me to say? It's a strike, huh? Get out of here. Puts his hand on his back. Says, get on your way. Booney, the manager, he does not want his young player to get ejected, so he's going to come protect him. He says, hey, come on, Mark. No way you fucking kicked that right there. And that was enough. That was enough to get tossed. You're out. The mask goes flying over his face. Get gone.
He looks so stoned. That guy looks so stoned.
Shit. How the fuck do you kick that right there? Now, I didn't know what that was for a long time because I don't use that expression. But we talked to Booney on the podcast. I may have got confirmation. I may have not that he uses the expression kick that. I was like, do you say? Yeah, okay. The umpire says, I don't think I did. He says, you don't think so? No, I don't have it down. You don't think so? You butchered it. You butchered that. He butchered it? No chance. Come on, Mark. Come on, Mark. And why are you quick to toss? I'm trying to protect my attitude player. Right there. You weren't protecting the player. That's bullshit. You're yelling at me and you're talking down to me. No, I'm protecting my fucking player. You're not protecting your player. Bullshit. That is bullshit. You're fucking You can say whatever the fuck you want. You don't get to come out here and yell at me. That is bullshit. You know it is. Get him out of here. I didn't come out here to fucking yell at you. And he kind of did, and he just came out and he said, no way you messed that one up, right? And then that got him tossed. So wasn't hearing it. He wasn't having it. He said, you can't come out and you can't talk to me that way. Maybe he can't. Maybe he can't. It was a really nasty pitch sequence. I mean, look at this. Those are the same pitch, but one of them is a slider and one of them is a fastball, and one of them, look at that. One of them is going to just dart to the ground, and the other is up there, and there's a 10-mile-per-hour difference. That is just nasty pitching.
That is
and as for
fucking
the umping,
nasty.
These are 2 pitches, and which one do you think got called a ball, and which one do you think got called a strike? Yeah, opposite of what you'd guess. The higher one got called a ball. The lower one got called a strike. So just inconsistencies. And like I showed at the beginning, Max Fried got that, the curveball, the arm side curveball, called a strike. He threw it again, same exact pitch, called a ball. The biggest difference, the umpire's head is in a different spot because it's a righty and a lefty. But, the side of the plate doesn't move just because the ump's head moves, but it kind of does. Like, that is the same pitch called 2 different ways. So that was some of the frustrations and the fun. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, share it with someone you enjoy.
Oh, that was interesting.
The Knicks took heat for playing heavy minutes all season, but now they look the most locked in. Should more teams stop load managing and just play through it?
History? I'm going off of history. History is saying load management is hurting the game because it's hurting the players. Right? It's these players is going down at a rapid speed. Like it's showing they're getting injuries we've never even seen in the sport.
No.
Quads, hammies, side muscles. I ain't even know motherfuckers we had side muscles over here. Where did they create these shits for me to pull this? Right? There's things that are happening in the game now that wasn't before. So I know we got new technology, but sometimes you got to look in the past to see what were y'all doing in the past, because you know, John Stockton, Karl Malone, right? We're talking about Michael Jordan,
Gary Payton,
right? You got players that played 82 games for years in a time where it was supposed to have been a brutal basketball, right? You got a player that's playing who came in 2003 that's still in the game, averaging 25, 7, and 7. You might want to ask why. Right? Hey, Karl Malone, hey, this is the Phoenix Suns here.
Get this spot in 12 grand. Shit, man. Am I getting a donation? Just kidding.
Reggie Miller, hey, motherfucker, hey. You was skinny than a motherfucker. How did you last so long in the NBA? What was you doing? What was your diet like? Was your lifting? Hey, McHale, hey, Mr. Ironman. Fuck you doing over there? Right? There's guys who's done shown. Like, are you lifting weights? Is it stretching? Like, what are you doing? Because obviously the fucking new people, these 27 and down, these goofy motherfuckers that I've been listening to that got computers and shit, they're wrong. Like, the computer's wrong. The human body is still the human body. And something is saying that 90s, 80s, 70s is the physical part of being able to play longer. Some of these motherfuckers playing at Chuck Taylor's. Chucks. Taylor's.
And playing 82.
They didn't have motherfucking super glue back then, just regular ass glue. And they was fine. Right? So there's things that you gotta take from the past to see why.
At least the basics.
You know what I mean? There's why. Like, is it actually lifting real weights? This bando shit? This Pilates shit right here is I can tell you it's wrong, because I can tell you this ain't Instagram. This ain't just take pictures and we look physique, right? Right? Because I can tell you, if you tell all them to run and do something active, they're gonna pull that shit that look good for the pictures with the. You got
the pretty muscles, as we call them.
Yeah, you gotta jump and run and beat. You gotta really do that stuff. And old school,
they doing all that shit, man.
Old school is telling us all this day off and we resting and all that. I mean,
that fucks up your body even more.
Yeah, right. We resting
sitting around for 2 days.
Yeah, we resting and we doing this barely workout and we coming in playing against motherfucker John Moran and I gotta come do this functional workout.
Yeah. Like what happened to just lifting? Like I remember my rookie year, my paper, boom, boom, like we lifting. I don't know what they do today.
You need your muscles to be firing at a very high level. There's John Morant's in this motherfucker.
You got to put muscles on top of muscles.
Yeah.
Like, you already got muscles. In training camp, the training camp we did, you put something on top of them muscles. And then, yeah.
And that was the difference too, our training camp from their training camp today.
Man, them dudes going to training camp and walking out fine the first practice. Second practice, walking in the third, and then training camp over. Man,
They don't even do two. They don't even do 2 days a day.
That shit don't exist.
Do you go to sleep at the same time? Every night?
No.
Around the same? No. Yours just.
My sleep pattern all fucked up.
You go sleep at the same time?
No.
No?
No, I've been.
Good. How you know I sleep at all?
Pretty sure.
You don't give me no time off.
But for the
When I open,
but for
Damn,
the most
bro,
part,
that
yeah, about
sucks.
2:30 in the morning.
But for the most part, your body, you train your body to react, right? Now, if I was telling a kid how to train and how to get shots up, right? And let's say we're training for 200 shots a day, so 1,400 shots. I need you to take 1,400 shots a week. I'm telling you, for the best results, 200 7 days a week. You do 200 a day, and then you rest, and then you do, 400 on Wednesday, then you rest, and you do that. I'm telling you what happens, your body remembers that cycle. It's gonna be ready to fire on Monday. It's gonna wanna sleep on Tuesday. It's gonna be ready to go max on Wednesday, rest on Thursday. What happens when you actually have to perform on Tuesdays and Thursdays? You're gonna be trying to get up and your body's gonna be say, this is a rest day. I'm not firing. That's what's happening in this sport that their bodies is being trained a certain pattern, and when you throw something on a rest pattern day, it fucks it up. Like I always remembered and was told on the night before the game, go to the gym and do something. So your body knows the fire at that time. Fire at that time. So I don't care if it's an off day, your body does its routine. Go to the gym, run around, do whatever, even if it's for 5 minutes, let your body know. Because if it's used to resting and going to sleep, it's gonna try to do that. And I noticed that when we played 1 o'clock games. If somebody did a statistics on my 1 o'clock games, I know for sure those is probably the worst stats I've ever had. That's gonna be my pattern.
Supposed to be sleep.
That's where I'm supposed to be fucking yes.
That is not.
Sitting there like, oh, shit, and trying to, now I got to overstimulate to try to get up for the game because my body want to naturally go to sleep, even though I just woke up. So new school need to try to think about just human nature itself to understand how to be functional.
Real
Fuck,
talk,
dude, I could go for another
River
steak
Range
and
Show,
some
Junior
eggs.
represented by Underdog, whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do have a playback at 4 o'clock. And as some of y'all point out, I do fall asleep on those.
Give me the fish.
It's Game 6, Thunder and Nuggets. This series is like a battle for the MVP. Who is the real MVP? Whoever comes out of this one, that's who it should be. Shea tonight, he had 32 points. He shot 68% from the field. He didn't put up that many in the first half, though. He was a little bit quiet. He did turn it up late. They get 19 points from Chet Holmgren. 3 of 16 shooting for J-Dub, though. He only had 6 points. That's tough. Jokic, 29 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists. 23 points for Brown, 25 for Jamal Murray. Shea was in foul trouble in that first half. He had 4 fouls in the first half. How do you do that? That's not an MVP performance. Chet throwing down a big slam on the break. The bench is loving it. You see that Shea was on the bench. So they're playing without him. If they lose this series, it's his fault. You got to blame Shea. He's making new moves. If you're an MVP, you got to show up in the biggest games. You got to close this thing out. Here goes another lob. Uh-oh, Chet is going crazy. He tried to backpack in this one. Shea back in the game. He's going to pop a 3. He's got it. Rainbow splash. Tie game in the third. Thunder had a comfortable lead in this one, and they blew the lead. That's tough. On the road, too. You want to get this thing over with. You never want to extend the series. Hartenstein, reverse slam. It's going back and forth. Nobody is giving up any ground in this one. Put back slam for Hartenstein. Bench is loving it. Fourth quarter. Denver, they've got a lead. Murray, wide open splash. That is a lazy rotation. You can't give up a look like that. J-Dub gets rejected at the basket. And then the Nuggets, they're going the other way. Westbrook with the putback. They're going to pull away here in the clutch. Jokic left open. He makes them pay. Wow. Thunder fans, you got to be disappointed in the ending of this game with a chance to just advance. You can't get blown out like this at the end. It was a tie game, and now it's over. They're forcing Game 7. Anything can happen. Let me know in the comments section who's moving on to play the T-Wolves. Give that guy a map. Merch is now available at chrissmooth.com.
Go fishing, boys. Let's see what we get. Some seaweed. Let's see here. What can we watch? Any good movies come out recently? When does this shit come out? May 23rd? May 23rd. Next week. So maybe on the 31st, I go take my daughter to go see that shit. I might. Might be the plan. Damn, this makes me want to watch Lord of the Rings. Fuck. Sean was talking about watching Lord of the Rings too the other weekend. It's just like, oh, I got that itch, man. I got that itch to watch it or read the books. You know what we should do? We should throw on the audiobook. No! Fuck, I wasn't paying attention. This run is so chalked. No. Forfeit. I forfeit. Get me out of here. This run's chalked. Do I listen to it? Nah. What should I watch though? I have an idea. Oh, what the fuck? Apparently we're sailing away, boys. No. Oh, 5 of us here. Let's go. I don't have a road. Let's go straight to cooking after. Oh man. Bro, you know what I'm gonna go grab after this? A bowl of Cheerios. No. Emerald bracelet, sapphire ring. Give me those. I'm gonna go grab some fucking Cheerios, boys. Be back. Oh yeah. That was some delicious cereal. Rocky, my guy. You're hilarious, dude. Come on in. Do your thing, Shawnee boy. You have a good night, buds. Do your thing. Peace, brother. You stay safe out there, man. All right, we're gonna fish these 23 rewards we got, and then I'm hopping off, boys. Let's see what we get. Some planks. Oh my god. Oh, dude, it said Tourist OG got that. I thought I got that. Fuck, I got so excited. I got opals, some diamond rings. Alright, boys, I'm out of here. You guys have a good night. Appreciate y'all. Peace out.